Okay, so welcome to our brand new lecture series called Daily News in Shorts. In this lecture series, or in today's lecture, we'll cover important news items of today's newspaper within 20 minutes. Needless to say that you should make this lecture series a part of your daily routine because this will enable you to revise your current affairs daily, and it won't take much of your time. In 20 minutes, we'll revise the entire newspaper of the day. All right, or the important news items which are important for your civil services examination. So I won't take much of your time because we have to finish today's newspaper in 20 minutes. So I will just start with the lecture. All right. So let's take a look at the topics we shall discuss in today's lecture. As you guys all know, today is June 24th. It is Monday today. So in today's newspapers, whether that's Hindu or Indian Express, there were four important news items. So these are going to be our today's topics. Okay. Number one news item was Bangladesh's PM visit to India. What sort of agreements were agreed upon in this visit? Prime Minister Bangladesh's Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's maiden visit. During maiden visit, I'm saying maiden because it was the first state visit by a foreign leader in Modi's third term. All right. So India and Bangladesh relationship is being discussed in newspapers. So that is why we are going to cover this. Then many people died in Saudi Arabia while traveling for Hajj. As you guys know, Hajj is a very important principle or very important thing in Islam. So many people were traveling for Hajj and they died because of heat wave, because temperatures were soaring. They were above 50 degrees Celsius in Saudi Arabia. So what is this heat tragedy? What is Hajj all about? We'll talk about this. Then 18th Lok Sabha has been elected and the oath-taking ceremony was being taking place. All right. So what is this oath-taking ceremony? Why is oath important? Why is it significant? Is there any constitutional provision with respect to oaths taken by members of parliament? We'll talk about this. And we'll talk about GST Council because recently the GST Council meeting was held and it was chaired by Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. So we'll talk about GST Council as well. All right. So without further ado, let's start with first topic, which is Bangladesh's PM first visit to India, or not the first visit to India. So recently, Bangladesh's Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was on a state visit to India, where she met Prime Minister Modi, of course. Now, the two agreed upon various agreements. Okay, various deals, various MOUs were signed, and on the basis of these MOUs, both these leaders actually released a document which was known as Vision for Shared Future. It was unveiled by the two leaders, and in that document, they said that last decade was the decade of extraordinary relationship between India and Bangladesh. The next decade will be the decade of transformational partnership. All right. Now, these words are important for your mains. You can use these words in your answer writing practice. Okay. For prelims, these words are not important. They also said that the new relationship will hail a golden chapter, Sonali Adhyay, as they say in Bengali, in the history of bilateral relationship between India and Bangladesh. So all in all, it was a very good meeting between the two countries. The friendship between the two countries as they say, that the friendship between the two countries was taken to another level. So all of that. Now, what were the important agreements that were agreed upon in this visit of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina? What were the important things that were discussed? So first of all, India and Bangladesh discussed about various connectivity issues. So the focus will be, as both leaders agreed upon, that focus from now on will be on the unfinished agenda of easing visa processes, to take visa into traveling to each other's countries, then free movement of goods, cross-border energy flows like electricity flows. If surplus electricity is being produced by India, it can be exported to Bangladesh and vice versa. And building of digital bridges, digital data or digital movement of data can happen between the two countries. For that, both of these countries were working on certain arrangements. Then India and Bangladesh have a free trade agreement between them. So both India and Bangladesh have a free trade agreement. Bangladesh is our FTA partner, free trade agreement partner. But both these countries have decided to upgrade this partnership to a comprehensive economic partnership agreement. So negotiations for CEPA are going to commence. Okay, that's what that is what was agreed upon in this meeting. Plus, Both these countries have said that we both have been cooperating on the economic front for a very long time. Let's cooperate on defense relationship as well. So both these countries decided to cooperate more on defense relationships, whether that's exporting defense equipment to Bangladesh's army or training Bangladesh's army to various for various operations, all that stuff. All right. So three major agreements or three major topics were discussed: connectivity issues, economic partnership, and defense relationship. By the way, few extra facts that you need to be familiar with. First of all, India is the largest economy of South Asia. You should remember that. India is the largest economy of South Asia. Okay, rank one is India. But the second largest economy of South Asia is Bangladesh. Many people confuse it with Pakistan. It's not anymore, it's Bangladesh. Plus, India's longest border, or the biggest border that India shares with any other country, is Bangladesh. So India's longest border is with Bangladesh. Okay. Generally, people think it's with China, but no, it's with Bangladesh. So India has a long border with Bangladesh, longest actually land border. Plus, Bangladesh is the second largest economy of South Asia. So, for regional connectivity, regional economic partnership, India needs Bangladesh and Bangladesh needs India, because both these two countries are the largest economies of this region, South Asian region. All right, that is why this visit was important for from an economic perspective. All right, okay. Let's move on to the second news item, which is heat tragedy in Mecca. Hundreds of Hajj pilgrims died in this oppressive heat of Saudi Arabia this year, with temperatures in Mecca reaching above 51 degrees Celsius. The majority of the deceased, 530 people, have died from Egypt. As you guys know what Hajj is, right? So during Hajj pilgrimage, many Muslims from different countries visit Saudi Arabia, Mecca, a city in Saudi Arabia, for their pilgrimage. So many from Egypt also visited. Maximum people who have died, hundreds of people have died. Maximum people have died. Maximum people who have died were Egyptians. Okay. From India, there were many Indian Muslims also traveling to this place. 98 Indians died this year because of extreme heat wave in Saudi Arabia. Now, what is important for you? Well, you need to know first what Hajj is and how is Saudi Arabian government involved in this entire process. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about what is Hajj. Okay, Hajj is literally Hajj. It's actually an Arabic word. It translates to set out for a place. Is one of the five pillars of Islam. Every Muslim is supposed to undertake the pilgrimage at least once in their lifetime. So there are five pillars or five principles of Islam. Okay, I'll write them down. One is Shahada. So every Muslim has to read this Shahada before converting to Islam, okay, or while converting to Islam. So every Muslim has to say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. That means there is no God other than Allah, and Muhammad is his prophet. Okay, so Shahada, you have to read the Shahada. Then there is Salat, which means you have to pray 5 times a day. That is namaz also. Okay, then there is Som, which means fasting. So in the month of Ramzan, you have to fast. Then there is Zakat, which means every Muslim has to donate for charity. And fifth one is Hajj. So every Muslim has to follow these five principles. So Hajj is basically a pilgrimage. Every Muslim once in their lifetime should travel to Mecca, Kaaba, this stone, holy stone of Kaaba. Okay, they should travel to Mecca for their Hajj. Okay, according to Quran, Hajj can be traced back to the time of Prophet Ibrahim, Sayyid Ibrahim, Prophet Ibrahim, who's also known as Abraham in Christian and Jewish faith. Well, Quran says that this practice of Hajj can be traced back to Prophet Ibrahim 4,000 years ago. Now, when can devoted Muslims take this pilgrimage? Well, the pilgrimage takes place between 8th and 13th of Dhul Hijjah, a month in Islamic calendar. Okay, as you guys know, the calendar we follow, the calendar of January, February, March, April, it's known as Gregorian calendar. But there are local calendars as well, like there is Hindu calendar, there is Islamic calendar. Okay, now in the Islamic calendar, there is this month called Dhul Hijjah. From 8th of that month to 13th of that month, you can perform Hajj. All right. Now, what is the international system of Hajj? So, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has a special ministry known as Ministry of Hajj and Umrah. They are in charge of taking care of all the infrastructure for Hajj pilgrimage. because Muslims throughout the world come to Saudi Arabia for this pilgrimage. So Saudi Arabian government is responsible for the infrastructure and all. They set up tents also, air conditioned tents, so that people don't suffer from heat. Okay, but there is a limit to the amount of infrastructure that Saudi Arabia government can build. That is why Saudi Arabian government allots quotas to different countries. Okay, what do these quotas mean? Well, Saudi Arabia government allots quotas which determine the total number of pilgrims who can make journey from that particular country. Okay, and this is done on the basis of the Muslim population in that country. Okay, this year Saudi Arabia allowed 1.7 lakh Indians to for Hajj. Okay, so 1.75 lakh quota was given to India. Some amount might have been given to Pakistan, then some to Bangladesh, then some to other countries. Okay, so the quota allocation is done by Saudi Arabian government. Okay, that's about it. Just remember, it is important for your history preparation also. These five principles of Islam: Shahada, Salat, Som, Zakat, Hajj. Okay, these are important because when we are studying Bhakti and Sufi movements in ancient history, ancient medieval history to be precise, so we talk about these five principles of Islam. All right, okay. Let's move on to the next topic, which is oath taking in Lok Sabha. Before 18th Lok Sabha can begin its legislative functioning, with the newly elected MPs will have to take the oath as provided in the constitution. Okay, so each MP, before he starting his tenure in the Lok Sabha, before starting his proceedings in the Lok Sabha, has to take an oath, and that oath is provided in the constitution. It is provided in the third schedule of the constitution. So the oath for MPs is provided in the third schedule of the constitution. Now, after the first session of 18th Lok Sabha, Speaker will be elected. But for the first session, there is this post called Pro Tem Speaker. He is chosen just for the first session. Okay, so the Pro Tem Speaker will preside over the House where all the MPs shall take their oaths, and in that session, new Speaker shall be elected. Now, remember this. This is very important as far as MCQs are concerned, because they can make a tricky MCQ and confuse you. Okay. Now, the tenure of an MP starts when he gets elected. Tenure of an MP starts when the Election Commission declares the result. Okay, and which act deals with the declaration of result? Section 73 of Representation of People's Act. So as soon as the Election Commission declares the result for an MP, the 5-year tenure of an MP starts. But that MP cannot participate in the proceedings of Lok Sabha until he has taken the oath. As per Article 99 of the Constitution, to debate and vote in the Lok Sabha, an MP has to take his or her seat by subscribing to an oath of affirmation prescribed in the Constitution. And which schedule of the Constitution? Third schedule of the Constitution provides for the oath. Okay. Plus, Constitution says that if an MP is participating and voting in Lok Sabha without taking this oath, well, there is a penalty for that. As per Article 104, there is a financial penalty of 500 rupees per session if an MP participates or votes without taking an oath. Plus, what about those MPs who are in jail? They have been elected, but they are in jail. There are a few MPs, one from Kashmir, one from Punjab, who are in jail right now, but they have won elections. Well, what about their oaths? So the Constitution says that if an MP does not attend the Parliament for 60 days, well, his or her seat shall lie vacant. So on the basis of that, these MPs are released from jail to take oath. Courts have used this ground to allow MPs to in jail to take oath in the Parliament. All right. So this is the issue. Clear? That's about it. Yes. One more thing. Very important. Remember this. Well, only after taking an oath can an MP vote or participate in the proceedings of Lok Sabha. Yes, that much part is clear. Now, remember, an MP can take oath in English or any other language provided in the 8th schedule of the Constitution. So 8th schedule of the Constitution contains 22 languages, a list of 22 languages which contains Hindi, Sanskrit, Tamil, all right? So an MP can take oath in English or Hindi or any other language in the 8th schedule, all right? Remember this fact. He cannot take oath in any other language, okay? Only these 23 languages. Okay, now let's move on to the last news item of today's newspaper, which is GST Council. Why was it in news? Well, the 53rd GST Council met in Delhi under the chairmanship of Nirmala Sitharaman, who is the Union Finance Minister. Now, GST Council. Well, basically, what is GST Council? GST Council is a constitutional body as per Article 279A of the Constitution. Now, every term, in every tenure, President shall appoint GST Council. It is the job of the President to appoint GST Council as per Article 279A of the Constitution. Now, who are the members of GST Council? Well, GST Council, as far as the membership is concerned, Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman ji, she'll be the member and the chairperson, plus all the state governments, including state governments in UTs which have a legislature like Delhi and Pondicherry. State finance ministers or any other minister appointed by the state government shall be the members. Okay, so all the state finance ministers or ministers appointed by the state government, nominee from the state government, plus union finance minister, who shall also be the member as well as chairperson of this GST Council. What is the job of GST Council? Well, the job of GST Council is to recommend rates of GST or any other decision. Any other decision with respect to GST shall be recommended by the GST Council, and it will be done after consultation between center and states. So it is a collaborative mechanism through which center and state governments discuss as to how GST should be governed in this country. All right. So this was the 53rd GST Council meeting. As you guys now know, it's a constitutional body as per Article 279A of the body appointed by the President. All right. Now, let's talk a bit more. GST, for GST regime to be enacted in our country, well, a constitutional amendment had to be enacted. So GST regime came into being with 101st Constitutional Amendment Act 2016. GST officially started on 1st July 2017. So Constitutional Amendment Act was enacted in 2016. GST officially commenced its operations on 1st July 2017. All right. This fact I've told you before. All right. Now, a few other things. Look, all the major decisions in the GST Council shall be decided by voting. All right. But for a decision to be officially accepted, 75% of votes should be given to that decision. So for a decision or for anything to be officially accepted, it requires 75% of votes. All right. So any recommendation would require 75% of the votes. Okay, not 50%, not majority voting. 75%. If any recommendation has 75% of votes of the members, well, that decision shall be accepted. Okay, so remember this fact. The other fact is that there is division of votes, weightage of votes between center and states. Okay, so central government has 1/3 votes, and all the other states combined have 2/3 votes, which means that center has 33% votes, states have 66% votes. As you can see, for any decision to be passed, it requires 75% of the votes. So, if center does not agree to any decision, that decision cannot be passed because it won't have 75% of the votes. Can you see over here? Let's suppose all the states combined say that GST should be 50%, but center says it should be 20%. Now, even if all the other states are on one side, they'll still have 66% votes, which means their decision won't be passed because it is not 75%. The other 33% votes are with the central government. So that is the situation. Anyway, that's all about GST Council. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure it has added value to your preparation. It will add more value if you follow this lecture series regularly. Make this lecture series a part of your daily routine. Okay? And if you do so, I'll see you next time with the current affairs of June 25th. All right? Thank you so much, everyone.